Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
With the Big East. Jerel, UConn as a 15-point favorite tonight. This is a revenge spot. It's for the Big East regular season, and they roll 91-61. This is the first outright Big East championship for the Huskies in 25 years, which is like really hard to believe given all their championships. But here we are. To do this, Jerel, after you win a title, how impressive was this regular season for Dan Hurley and the Huskies?
I mean, it was really impressive, and they've been impressive for the most part from start to finish. Obviously, they had a little bit of a give back game here on their mind this afternoon or this morning, depending on what time zone you were in, because Seton Hall got them. Right when Big East play kind of jumped off, but they kind of manned the ship after that, and it was smooth sailing for the most part for the rest of the way, man. And they've kind of rolled here throughout conference play as well too. But it's really impressive, man, being a team that lost so much talent to the NBA
Yeah.
and won it all last year, and they relatively rolled through through the NCAA tournament as well last year, man. Just for them to reload the player development, the guys that they had step up this year. Cam Spencer coming in, a great addition on Dan Hurley's part, man. All the pieces just kind of fit, man. It's been really impressive what they've done, and they've earned one title, and we'll see who ends up getting the next one when Big E's tournament play jumps off here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, Kevin, I mean, obviously this UConn team didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, they were, ranked very high in the preseason polls, and bringing back Klingon and Tristan Newton. It's not like, oh, I can't believe this happened. But isn't it still, I mean, again, to have to replace a Jordan Hawkins, a Sonogo, I mean, usage rates, it's not obvious, right? I don't know. In some ways, they had an even better year than last year. I mean, they absolutely did.
Yeah, look, to me, like Dan Hurley should be National Coach of the Year. I think it's stopped being a conversation in my mind. Like I think he's earned it. For them to be where they are, to be as consistently good as they have been this season, given what they lost in the offseason, certainly. But then, given what they've dealt with injuries throughout the season, obviously, remember, Klingon injured for much of the non-conference. Caravan missed a big game against St. John's. Steph Castle missed time in November and early December. Like, this team has not been at full strength. And now that they are, you see how dominant they can be. Today, obviously, winning by 30. And it's funny, I felt like Seton Hall was playing well for a lot of that game. And it didn't matter. This team is just so good, so dominant at their best. Like, to me, yes, there's always a lot of different candidates for Coach of the Year because it's a very nebulous award. You can argue it in so many different ways. Okay, this is why someone deserves to be National Coach of the Year. But in my mind, this guy took a title-winning team, lost key pieces, flipped it, and as a team that has a very real chance to win a national title yet again. I think Dan Hurley is National Coach of the Year right now.
Yeah, so just as a follow-up, Kevin, in terms of the way that they're built, I mean, it is different from a year ago, whereas, you had timely shot making from Jordan Hawkins. I think that's a little more easily replaced, right, with Spencer and what Tristan Newton is doing. And then, Stephon Castle's coming in and giving you 21 today. But it is different in terms of you really leaned on Sonogo there from multiple levels. So when you sort of assess, the way they're going to look in the tournament, how much different is it? Do you think they're better equipped for another tournament run? Just how would you sort of compare this one to last year?
So I think the two things that they miss most are Sonogo's post presence, right? Klingon's not a guy you're necessarily playing through on a block, right? They got easy baskets by just playing through Sonogo whenever they got one-on-ones. And then Andre Jackson's versatility. I mean, he was so good as a passer last year. Defensively was phenomenal in the NCAA tournament. Like, to me, those are the two guys that they miss the most, and why I think they're probably a little bit more vulnerable than they were a year ago. But the one thing that last year I think everyone pointed to as the flaw for this team was point guard play. And now they have one of, if not the best point guard in the country in Tristan Newton. I mean, 10 assists, 2 turnovers today, has really blossomed into an All-American type guard. And so when you have elite point guard play, when you have shooting around him in Cam Spencer and Caravan, when you have defense and athleticism on the wing in Steph Castle, and then you have a 7'2" guy in the middle who can do everything, and guys behind them who fill roles, right? Like Diarra and Samson Johnson. Like, that is a scary, scary makeup that this UConn team has, and I think they certainly feel like a legitimate contender to repeat.
Yeah, Jerel, it hasn't happened much this year. I mean, they've only lost 3 games, but if you were as a player who sort of seen, and been responsible for taking things away from guys, where would you start if you're trying to attack this UConn team? Like, where are the holes in the way this team is built? Where would you sort of look?
I mean, I think that's one of the things that makes them such an effective offensive team is that they don't necessarily have a guy this year that they just, who's going to come out and he's going to get his touches and they're going to try to get him going to get his looks right away early. I felt like a better part of last year, Sonogo was kind of that guy. They kind of just, set the tone, usually coming out of games, starting off in games, trying to get him touches down low and seeing how teams were going to scheme for him or guard him defensively. But this year, man, it's kind of just like a community of guys when you can kind of get it from anywhere. Obviously, Tristan Newton's been stellar at the point guard spot. He's been dynamic for them as a playmaker. Cam Spencer is having a first team All Big East level type of year. Caravan has had a really good year, quietly in some respects, but a really good year. A guy that's playing his ass off and has really took a step this year. One of those guys that stepped up. And Klingan even has become another option where it's like they may not throw the ball and just constantly force feed him the ball because he's probably not as good offensively right now, just playing through him in the post as Sonogo was, but he's still a guy where he's so massive and he's so huge, man, that you got to account for him, and it's really hard to leave a guy like that one-on-one consistently, especially when he's trying to get deep seals. And you got to tip your hat a lot of times, man, because I study a lot of stuff that Hurley does offensively, man, and they just have so many different plays and such a good flow and rhythm offense. They do a great job of spacing the floor, and they have so many counters and screens and rip screens and back screens and misdirection backdoors that it's it's just fun basketball to really watch once they have it all flowing together.
Yeah, I decided in my mind, probably 3 months ago. I think it was after they went into, it wasn't Gonzaga's home floor, it was like their weird secondary venue, and when they put that beat down on Gonzaga, I was like, I'm never betting against this UConn team. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to bet on them every game, but I'm never betting against them. And so it's not at all shocking to me when Klingen's healthy and they have their stuff rolling. There's a reason they're the favorite right now to win the entire thing.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field 68 content.